Hi there, I'm Rabiban. For this video, I'll build a spider-like Warframe Oraxia to fight on the Steel Pass. If you get the mods and Arcane as I will show you, you can fight through 10 rounds by yourself in the Cascade mission of the Steel Pass. The Oraxia is very unique Warframe, not only in appearance, but also in the abilities. Take a closer look at the abilities before installing mods. First, let's review the passive abilities. Oraxia can become invisible for 8 seconds when clinging to the wall. Invisibility is removed only after a time pass. The invisibility lasts even if you shoot a gun, swing a melee weapon, or the ability is deactivated. You can choose the appearance of invisibility as you like. Open the menu and select Options. Select the Accessibility tab and scroll down. Then, you can choose the type of invisibility you want. You can choose Standard, Semi-Cloak, or Glow Cloak. Glow Cloak looks almost the same as usual for your Warframe, so it is recommended for fashionable tenure. However, it may be a little inconvenient when fighting, because it does not look much different from when it is deactivated. Let's see the first ability. Focus on the enemy and activate it. She will leap at the enemy and inflict toxic damage. During the attack, she will be invincible for a short time. And if the spider mark appears above the enemy's head, you can defeat that enemy in a single blow. This symbol appears when the enemy's health is under half, or the enemy is ready for a mercy kill. Mercy kills can be applied when the enemy is heavily inflicted with the impact status effect. Try to reduce the enemy's health, and if possible, generate a large number of impact status effects. Defeating enemies with this ability may generate a health orbs and energy orbs. The chance depends on the strength of the ability, and if it exceeds 200%, the energy orb will always come out. Let's review the second ability next. When activated, it deploys a net. It can capture enemies that enter the area of the net. Enemies within the range of the net will take more damage, and toxic status effect will always be applied. It seems to be powerful because it can increase firepower. You can deploy up to 3 nets at the same time. When the fourth one is deployed, the old one will disappear. Let's see the third ability. When activated, she launches a toxic dart. Whenever it hits an enemy, it causes a toxic status effect. And when you kill an enemy hit by this ability, a small spider will appear as your ally. The spider generates an impact status effect, so you can expect a little synergy with the first ability. Let's look at the fourth ability next. When activated, she will grow a distinctive leg from her and will slowly drain energy. This will change the way to operate the Warframe and generate multiple additional effects. First, let's look at the change to operating. While this ability is activated, you can stick to the wall as long as you want. If you have enough energy, you can stick to a wall for a long time. You can even stick to ceilings. And by rolling, by activating this ability, you can automatically stick to walls. This ability allows to automatically attach to walls at a distance, so the mobility is even better than it looks. Once attached to a wall, she can use the passive ability to become invisible. If you want to leave the wall, you can jump off. After leaving the wall and wanting to stick to it again, roll to the wall you want to stick to. This will maintain invisibility. Now, you know how to operate. Let's see the additional effects. First, the health increase. It increases corresponding to the strength of your abilities. Next, the protection against status effects and knockdowns. You can use explosive weapons without worrying about knockdowns and status effects. In addition, your primary and secondary weapons will have a toxic damage bonus. This bonus is doubled when you are holding onto a wall, and when you kill or kill assist an enemy using the shooting weapon with this bonus, the toxic area of effect will be generated. Since it is also triggered by kill assists, it will be useful when you are in a squad. So, Oraxia's fourth ability has health increase, immune status effects, immunity to knockdowns, add toxic damage to a weapon, toxic area of effect, with kill or kill assists. These are 5 effects. Because of them, this ability is essential when fighting by Oraxia. The 4th ability has various effects, but it has 4 big weaknesses. Its first weakness is the difficulty of operating in narrow places. While this ability is active, you can stick to the upper side of the house between rooms, since it is easier to stick to the wall when you don't intend to, and you have to be careful about which mission to take on. Next is the lack of melee weapons. While this ability is active, pressing the melee attack button will only activate the first ability. This means that the pack leader, which increases the companion's survivability, will not work. Another problem is that incarnate weapons do not work well together. Incarnate weapons store a gauge with a headshot and change modes with a secondary fire. During the mode change, the incarnate weapon has increased performance. However, during the mode change, the damage bonus of the force ability is not applied to the attack. Therefore, it is not a good match for the incarnate weapon. Finally, unable to do normal rolling is also a disadvantage. This is not a problem for normal missions, but it is especially bad with Malice, one of the acolytes found in the Steel Pass. Malice activates the ability to gather bullets like mad. Other Warframes can roll and rip off this ability. However, if you have activated Oraxia's force ability, you cannot do that. Since you cannot remove it, if you attack as is, you will be defeated by your weapon's damage. You must deactivate the ability once and then roll. It is not a big weakness, but it is somewhat annoying, difficult to use in narrow places. Cannot use melee weapons. Incarnate weapons are not a good match. Hard to deal with Malice by rolling. You need to conquer these 4 weaknesses well. Let's customize Oraxia for the Cascade in Zariman. First, let's port Banshee's abilities to the 3rd ability. After you join a clan and go to the 10th lab in Dojo, the clan's facility, you will be able to get a blueprint of Banshee. Thanks to this ability, you can neutralize Acolyte's abilities. Now, let's see the Archon Shards. I recommend using 1 green, 3 red, and 1 blue Archon Shard. With the green Archon Shard, you can recover health by the toxic status. This will slowly heal your health thanks to Oraxia's abilities. With the red shards, extend the duration of the abilities. It will improve the energy use of the force ability. Finally, increase the amount of energy with the blue shards. Use these shards if you can afford it. I have already made a video on how to get them. Once you have ported the abilities and used the Archon Shards, install the mods. In this case, we will install the mods, assuming that Oraxia's force ability will always be in use. To do so, we must ensure the energy supply. For this reason, let's install Equilibrium. This will allow you to recover energy just by picking up health orbs. Therefore, you can recover energy by defeating enemies with the first ability. You may be able to get it from the quest at the beginning, the circuit, and the boss in Deimos. Next, add Vitality, Intensify, Arcane Build calls, these mods, and Arcane as a set. Vitality can be obtained from many different enemies, and Intensify from Cetus Bounty, etc. Arcane Build calls can be earned by completing the quest called Hex. I have summarized how to get it in previous video. Installing 3 of these as a set increase the strength of the abilities to 202% during the force ability. In details, these 4 steps are performed to increase the strength of the abilities. 1. Vitality increase Oraxia's health. 2. Intensify increases the strength of the ability. 3. Force ability further increase Oraxia's health. 4. Arcane Build calls increase the strength of the abilities, depending on the amount of health. These systems fit together to increase the strength of the abilities by 40%, while the force ability is activated. So 162 plus 40 means that the strength of the ability can increase to 202%. This means that by using the first ability to defeat an enemy, you will always get an energy orb. When your energy is low, activate the first ability at the enemy with the symbol of its head. This should easily restore your energy, install Equilibrium, Vitality, Intensify, Arcane Build calls. These mods will solve your energy problem. Then, you can use other mods to improve survivability and usability. For the Aura mod, install Brief Respite, which can be earned by clearing the Silver Grove and gathering plants. Next, get Catalyzing Seals from Deimos Vault using the Dragon Key. The steps are summarized in this video. With Brief Respite and Catalyzing Seals together, you can recover all your shields just by activating the second ability. More safely measures you have, the safer. Next, get Prime Flow from Barketeer to make it easier to store energy. If you also include Archon Continuity, you can also generate a corrosive status on your abilities. You can get it from the weekly mission, which you can try after completing Veil Breaker. Once you can get to the Arbitration, install Adaptation and Preparation. Adaptation is recommended as it can increase your survivability just by adding it. Preparation will fill up Oraxia's energy from the beginning. Primed Sure-Footed is not necessary because Oraxia's force ability has the effect of preventing fallover and preventing the status effects. Then, use Stretch to increase the range of your abilities. Finally, Arcane Arachnine should be added. This Arcane can increase the firepower of the primary and secondary while sticking to the wall with the force ability. To get it, try Arcane Dissolution at Lloyd's Place. You may be able to get it from Eidolon Arcane. Now, the Oraxia's build is complete. Next, let's see a secondary weapon, the Kit Gun build. The Kit Gun is a gun made from a combination of 3 different parts. The blueprints for the parts can be purchased from Solaris United or Entrati points. Do bounty in all valleys and Cambion Drift to earn points and syndicate rank. The parts you use are Haymaker, Spore Laser, and Splat. Now let's take a look at the mods. First, let's buy white mods from Barketeer. Thanks to these mods, the critical chance will exceed 100%. If you don't have them, you can use a normal version of the mod, or the Creeping Bullseye that can get from Deimos Vault. If you can go to the Arbitration, include Galvanized Diffusion. You should have Hornet's Strike by the time you can make this Kit Gun. Lethal Trend can be found in Sedna, Pluto, Lua, Neptune, and Ares Nightmare missions, and you should get Magnetic Might in Hollvania. This will give you even more firepower. After that, add 2 Arcane, and the build is complete. Buy Pax Charge from Zood at Solaris United for infinite ammo. Then, increase your critical chance with Secondary Innovate, which you can get in Hollvania. I have put together a video on how to get Arcane in Hollvania. Now, the build is complete. Next, let's look at the build of Panzer Barbafiler. First, install 2 unique mods to make them easier to revive. Then, increase the number of resources you can get by using Resourceful Retrieval. To get them, you will need Animal Conservation. I made a video on how to do Animal Conservation and what animals to aim for. If you don't have it yet, aim to get it. Next, you need to get Fetch by defeating Hyena in all valleys. You should be able to get Tech and Sense mod from bounty at the same location. Then, collect the Bond mod from the conservation agents in various open world syndicates. Duplex Bond is available from Sun in Entrati, Tenacious Bond from Bids in Solaris United, and Restorative Bond from Tesonine in Cetus. Finally, get the Hunter mod from Ghoul's Bounty in Cetus. They are easy to revive with health orbs and will make excellent companions. Next, let's look at the build of Panzer Claws. First, exchange Sepsis Claws and Stance mod for tags from Sun in Deimos. Next, exchange Precision Conditioning for attack from Tesonite in CTES. Precision Conditioning will increase firepower. You can get the later mods by defeating animal-like enemies. Bite can be got from the Rock, Swipe from Hayeka, and the other mods from Hyena in all battles. Thanks to Bite, you can increase the critical multiplier of your weapon. Thanks to Elemental Mod and Sepsis Clause, the toxic status effect is more likely to occur. Warframe has green Archon Shards, so it is easier to regenerate health. Next, I also share the primary weapon build. Oraxia's Force ability gives a weapon a toxic damage bonus. For this reason, I recommend a weapon that can harness the primary blight, available in Reverie. This Arcane will gradually increase critical damage and multi-shot when the toxic status is triggered. Therefore, it works well with a primary weapon that can steadily generate a critical hit. There are many options, but in this case, I chose the Burston Prime. Head to the Steel Circuit mission and evolve this weapon. I have made a video in the past on the detailed steps. Here, I have selected these 3 abilities and increase the critical chance. After that, install the mod to increase the critical chance. Point Strike alone has 100% critical chance, so you can harness Arcane's capability. Galvanized mod is available from Arbitration missions, and Gilded Truth is available from Syndicate. I have made a video on how to get both mods. If you haven't yet done it, you should get them. Rhyme rounds might be acquired by stealing all the data from Saturn, Ceres, Jupiter, Europa, and Lua Spy for a chance to get it. You can get the X-Last mod by doing bounty on Cetus. The rest of the mods should be available before you know it, if you keep doing endless missions such as survival. Now, the build is complete. You can't use the toxic damage bonus in Incarnate mode, so keep using it in normal mode. It has a smaller attack range than the kit can, but it can still deal damage to Thrax. This time, we are heading for a Cascade mission, so let's focus on the Operator's skills and the special weapon, Amp. First, let's choose Mudrise skill. The first ability can increase the Amp's firepower, and if you hit the enemy with the second ability, you can also increase the firepower of the Amp. Be sure to choose the Mudrise skill, because other skills can't provide enough firepower. Oparator Arcane is also a crucial factor. The most important is Magus Cloud. Its effect is that after entering Void mode, their hitbox will be expanded when they use a Void Dash. Let's see how it works in practice. In Cascade, you must secure the Exolizer. To do so, you must approach the Exolizer and close the cracks around it. The cracks can be closed by attacking with Amp or hitting the cracks with a Void Dash. If there is no Magus Cloud, accurate shooting is required. Once a crack is closed, the Exolizer can be secured by attacking the shadow of the Thrax, floating on the Exolizer with the Operator. The process of closing the crack is quite time-consuming than you might think. However, the crack can be easily closed by installing this Arcane, entering Void mode, and performing a Void Dash. The hitbox has expanded, and Void Dash is now easier to hit the cracks. You will be able to fight much easier because you don't have to aim at every crack. This Magus Cloud is available from Quills. Be sure to bring it when you go to Cascade mission. You should also buy Magus Glitch from Vox Solaris. Even if the Operator is defeated, it won't be a problem. Next, let's create an Amp. To create an Amp, you will need to rank up in Quills and Vox Solaris, and you will need points. The parts used are Cantic Prism, Haft Scaffold, and Certus Brace. In terms of parts number, it corresponds to 547. I recommend this Amp because its critical performance is quite high. The primary can fire bursts, and the secondary can fire rebounds. Both have excellent critical chance and range, so you can take down Thrax relatively quickly. After that, you can build Arcane for Amps. Eternal Logistics and Eternal LDK are recommended. Both of them can only be obtained from Zariman, but they are effective because of their easy activation conditions. Once you have the operator's skills, Arcane and Amps, it's time to head for the Cascade. Finally, let's look at how to use it in a Cascade. First, go secure the Equalizer. When you get close, switch to Operator and go into Void mode. This will activate the Arcane effect. Then, Void Dash in the direction of the crack. Thanks to Arcane, you can close the crack without having to Void Dash into the crack. Once all the cracks are closed, attack the Thrax floating on the Equalizer with Operator. Then, the Equalizer should be secure. Once the Equalizer is secured, you can return to Warframe. Activate the Force ability and roll to the ceiling or wall. You can stick to the wall and become invisible, allowing you to increase the firepower of your weapon. The invisibility lasts only 8 seconds, so you will need to re-stick to it periodically. Jump off the wall and roll at the wall. This will help you keep your invisibility. Once you are safe, attack Thrax with your weapon to reduce its health. After Thrax's health reaches 0, it will become a ghost. Switch to Operator again and use the first ability to increase the Amp's firepower, then defeat the ghost with an Amp attack. Once it is defeated, return to Warframe and defeat the other enemies. Use Oraxia to stay on the wall and keep the invisibility. This will increase your survivability. Remember to activate the abilities you have ported, as well as the Force ability. Banshee's abilities will block the abilities of Acolyte and Eximus. To keep your abilities, use the first ability frequently to finish off enemies. Just activate the first ability on the enemy once a mark appears. This will ensure that the energy orb and health orb will appear. Unexpectedly, energy management is difficult. From the time your energy falls below 300, you should aggressively use the first ability to finish off the enemy. This first ability is also effective against Thrax enemies. If you use this ability on a Thrax type enemy that has a mark, you can immediately change them into a ghost. It is not clear if this will be possible in future updates, but it is quite convenient because you can defeat them in no time. Aim for it when you have enough energy. If the enemy is tough, it is better to use the second ability to soften the enemy. When you run out of shields, you can quickly regain them. And in Cascade mission, you can fight longer if you keep a lot of Equalizer. Don't just focus on defeating the enemy, keep an eye on your gauges as well. If you keep Oraxia's Force ability and use rolling well, you can cover a long distance. Once you get used to it, use rolling well. This will make it easier to secure several Equalizer at the same time. After entering Void mode, make a Void Dash to close the crack. Always stick to the wall with the Force ability. Periodically, re-stick to the wall to keep your invisibility. Use the first ability to restore energy. Secure as many Equalizers as possible at the same time. These 5 things will keep you enduring longer on your Cascade missions. This will allow you to fight at least 10 rounds in the Void Cascade Fisher mission on the Steel Pass. If you do well, you can fight alone for even about 40 rounds. This is an overview of how to use and build Oraxia. I'm thinking of uploading videos with different tastes. Thank you very much for watching. If you want more, please subscribe to my channel. See you next time. Bye.